DFS show with Jon Impemba and James Grande.
What's going on, FA Nation? Jon Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS Playbook Preview Show. We are here for the Monday 6-game main slate over on DraftKings. If you play on FanDuel, congrats to you. You got the 10 p.m. games. So you got 8 games over on FanDuel, 6 games on DraftKings. Still, though, the 6 games that we have, some pretty exciting matchups to go over, to break down. We got a couple of teams on back-to-backs. And Grande, congratulations to you, sir. You nearly had a takedown on Sunday's main slate. Of course, you did the playbook. So nobody knew that slate better than you. Hopefully you guys all followed Grande's playbook there. He ended up having a second place finish on the Sunday slate. So onward and upward. We've had a pretty successful NBA DFS season to this point here. And you're going to be on the Monday playbook. So hopefully keeping that hot streak rolling for everybody who's tuning in. We do appreciate those who are new and regular watchers of our show. Hit that like, that subscribe, that follow button. Free way to support the work we do here over at Fantasy Alarm. Grande, how we doing, man?
Doing much better now. I mean,
Sure.
It was a great day to win a tournament, John. Almost did. And yeah, it felt good. I think the process has been good. The results have been up and down. So it's good to almost get a takedown. I messaged you when I was in first, when Şengün had like 3 offensive rebounds in a row to get the triple-double, or was 1 rebound shy. And I was like, this is great, but he's not going to be in for much longer. And then, I just have to sweat it out. I ended up finishing second. That's fine. I was tied for second, and then a stack correction put me back into solo second, so that's even more dollars. So, yeah, look, you and I are looking at this stuff every day, and I think we're finally at a point in the year where teams have played heavy amounts of minutes and heavy amounts of games, and we have a good sample on when players are out, where's the usage going, and when teams are playing versus someone who's up tempo, is it a pace up spot that we should be, looking at, and who's playing what minutes? So as the season has gone on, we've just gotten a better sample of all that, and we're going to continue to give you the data that we're seeing, and hopefully we continue this momentum into the rest of the year. It's a fun, like you said, fun 6-game slate, bunch of teams on back-to-backs. A lot of high implied totals, 235.5 in Indiana, Toronto, 233.5 in Chicago, Detroit, and 231.5 in Wizards, Knicks. Most of those teams are on back-to-backs. I think all but the Raptors in those 6 teams I just mentioned on back-to-back. So should be a fun slate overall.
Agreed. We'll go position by position here. We'll break it all down for everybody. If you guys have any comments or questions, again, leave the question in the comment section. James and I will be happy to answer you guys throughout the day. We do go live again at 5 p.m. Eastern time to recap all the latest news and happenings and get you guys ready for the main slate. Point guard position, Devin Booker is your top price point guard on this slate. No Bradley Beal still. Going to miss a couple more games here for Phoenix. Booker, monster performance against Minnesota, 44 actual. We've talked about he having this in his bag more often than not. Now gets Orlando. It's certainly going to be a little bit of a tougher matchup here. Orlando in terms of defensive efficiency, and then pace, top of the league in defense, one of the bottom teams in pace, makes it for a usual tough matchup for opposing guards. Jalen Suggs doesn't help. However, the guard below him, Mr. Cade Cunningham, $9,300, another 65 fantasy points, another triple-double, and he has the Chicago Bulls in the highest pace matchup on the slate. He is only $9,300 for whatever reason. He was super popular on Sunday's slate for obvious reasons against Washington. I would imagine many just go right back to the well here with Cade Cunningham on this slate.
Yeah, it is. He is going to be extremely popular. These are 2 teams that are right at the top of the league in terms of pace. Chicago's 1. I guess Detroit is. Where's Detroit in pace? They're actually like 24th, so massive
I
peso
was going to say,
spot.
it's a massive peso spot for him, yeah.
And Chicago's 25th in defense, and that was prior to the shellacking they took against Houston. So it is going to be another chalky spot for Cade. His price is too cheap considering the upside. Obviously, got a little bit. I would say ran a little hot with the steals and blocks. I mean, 6 steals and blocks in this game, but like even if you take all those away and he triple doubles, like you're still cooking at $9,300.
Yep, agreed. Below him, Dame Lillard probable to return after missing the last couple of games due to the concussion protocol. He was obviously really good for stretches there. The last couple of matchups against New York and Boston, tough for spots. Not as efficient there, shooting the basketball, just 1 for 12 from 3-point range. See if he can turn that around against Houston, who's on a back-to-back. We got Jalen Brunson now in this spot against Washington. We just saw, again, Cade go off. We saw Brunson go off without Towns, 37 actual against Brooklyn, as we kind of predicted would happen there. $8,900 still feels, maybe a little cheap for what we can get as a ceiling out of Brunson, so I certainly don't mind him in that spot. And then we go down to Tyrese Halliburton. He's $8,200. We're going to keep going through this with Halliburton, right? He is not priced appropriately for what his ceiling is, but he's been so inconsistent that we don't know what days we're going to get the ceiling and what days we're going to get the day he shoots 2 for 8. Toronto, I mean, again, not a great team. They do have Davion Mitchell starting for them, so we know he's at least a good defensive player. Where are we? Is it just tournament still? Just you make a couple lineups, got to get Halliburton in one. Is that where we're sitting with it?
Yeah, that kind of feels what the last 3 names you mentioned were just kind of tournament plays. Dame coming back off concussion. I assume he's full go if he's cleared, but we don't know. They need to win, so running Dame out for as many minutes as possible seems likely. Brunson looked terrible on the Sunday slate. Towns being back, Towns absolutely dominated again. So, like, we're just seeing a lot of games. Jalen Brunson's just kind of second fiddle. Jalen Brunson was the only starter tonight without 20 actual points, John. Every other starter had 20 plus, except Jalen Brunson, who did have 10 assists. So, for what that's worth. Yep. Brunson's in a really great spot, big spread. We'll see. 8,900's getting pricey for a guy who had a big game without Towns and then bad game with Towns, and it's kind of been like, I don't know if we need 44 fantasy points to pay it off. Obviously, he's capable of it, but
yeah, the Wizards matchup is obviously a favorable spot for him, but it's also a favorable spot for Karl Anthony Towns, who go out there and go for 70 again. Right. So
I probably just go to Halliburton. I probably just go to Halliburton for cheaper.
Sure.
But still, they're all just tournament plays for me.
Agreed. We'll talk about Hero at shooting guard. We got Poole at 71, Suggs at 7K, Kobe White at 6,900, Fred VanVleet 68. We had a returning Malcolm Brogdon as well, now active for Washington. Played 22 minutes in that game against Detroit. Let's see. Do we think that there's do you think he plays on a back-to-back? Like, what are our
No.
I didn't think so either. Got Giddey, Rozier. What are your thoughts as we work our way into this 7 and 6K range?
I mean, I'd be better. I want, if I'm playing Jordan Poole, I hope Brogdon doesn't play, right? Because 22 minutes now. Poole played at only 27. Does that have to do with the blowout? Possibly, but don't like the trend of the minutes the last couple of games for Jordan Poole. But tournaments is fine. Jalen Suggs kind of cooled off since those first couple games without Paolo. He's what he is. He can get really hot offensively. He's an elite defensive player. I probably wouldn't love getting there at 7K, but you can. I think a lot of the field is going to get to Fred VanVleet. That's personally my opinion. I think this is where things settle. He was great again on Sunday. In 28 minutes, he had 28 actual, 7 assists, 7 rebounds, and 2 steals. And he was super chalky. And his price has kind of just remained the same,
Mhm.
and he's starting to shoot the ball well, which has been obviously the issue for most of the year and most of his career. But like,
Well, that in his tenure with Houston actually
right.
really hasn't carried over the offensive upside he showed with Toronto.
So if we're gonna see a consistent version of Fred VanVleet, the Bucks just obviously don't have it defensively. Like no matter what they do, they just don't have the bodies to stop them. Who is Dame going to guard in this spot? It's probably Van Vliet. Like he's not going to guard Jalen Green. That's criminal. So
Right.
that's a great spot for Van Vliet. I can see a lot of cash game lineups just starting with 6,800 for Van Vliet.
Last time we looked at Jared McCain, he was the Friday slate against Orlando. They had Joel Embiid, they had Paul George, and we were like, you know what? I don't know. The price is 5,500. JoJo and George, no Bennett's limit. And a game where his team only scored 86.
And he fouled out.
He scored 29. He was 10 of 17 from the floor. He was 5 of 10 from 3. I had the slip of the tongue like 3 slates ago where I said, well, what if he's Maxey? And we were like, all right, we backtracked a little bit. And obviously Maxey's an elite scorer. And then we started being like, well, he might just be him, right? Like Jared McCain just might be that dude. And we've been texting each other back and forth as our eyes just sort of pop out of our skulls at what this kid is doing here. He started in that game as well, a shooting guard, next to Lowry. You ride the hot streak. I mean, right? You ride it out. I know the price is getting up there, 5,800, but that's too cheap for a guy that's knocking down 5 of 10 from 3, 6 of 13 from 3 here with Embiid, who had a really good game in the first half of that game, and George playing full complement of minutes.
And just to add context here, Joel Embiid's questionable. He's sick. He has an illness. So, I mean, you can get to him. Clearly, he's going to produce with or without. I mean, 17 shots in 31 minutes with Paul George and Embiid back is super impressive. Obviously, the rest of the peripheral stats were just kind of what they were. But if he's going to have that much shot volume, he's going to be productive. If there's no Embiid, it's a steal at 5,800. So is that 7:30? So it's not the first game, but I mean, we'll know in plenty of time if Embiid's playing or not. We always get that. The Philly updates usually happen kind of early. So
do we know when he fouled out of that game? I guess I could go look that up now. See how if he would have been in 4 more minutes, or if that was like a end of game foul out.
Fouled out with 4:56 to go in the fourth.
Okay, so he probably would have played the final 4 minutes of that game, or 3 minutes of that game at least, probably.
No, 5. 4:56 left.
Okay.
There was 5 minutes left. He would have played 36 minutes or so.
Yeah. Yep. Kid's looking good. Make fun of him for his TikToks all you want. He is out there balling. So, Bo Carrington there, 25 minutes for him. Again, if Brogdon is in, probably cuts into a little bit of what he's got going on. Davion feels a bit too expensive. Anybody else down here that you would play?
Tyus nuked Sunday's early slate. He had a double-double, played a bunch of minutes. They're short. They're just very short-handed. So we know Suggs is going to play guard Devin Booker. And, that is probably still means KCP guards Tyus. So that's still not like the best assignment, but 5,600, it's a fine price.
McConnell had a big day the other day. He always kind of pops up and has these days.
Yeah, I mean, the Miami matchup clearly was one Carlisle liked, right? 17 and 23 minutes the last 2 games. So if you want to, you can always play him. He just has a high ceiling.
Yeah. Shooting guard. I got Booker. I mentioned Hero. Indiana, 28 actual on the Sunday slate. Was obviously a little cooler on the slate before that. Just 2 for 9 from 3 didn't help the production. We still got the 20 points. Largely he's been really good, but now his price is $8,000. Are we starting to fade Tyler Hero there? He needs 40 fantasy points for 5x.
Yeah, I mean, probably contingent on Jimmy, would be because Jimmy was questionable going into the
Yep.
Sunday slate and then didn't play. So I assume that means he's close. Maybe that meant I want to play the second leg of the back to back, or I need another day. So we'll see. I'm indifferent about it. If Jimmy plays, I'm probably not going there. If Jimmy doesn't, I'd be okay with it.
Okay. Other mid-tier options for us, we got Levine at $7,000, Jalen Green 67, Mikal Bridges, Ben Matherin, Ivy's here, Grady Dick also $6,300, Agbaji and Oubre round out the 6K tier.
Yeah, I mean the Bulls are interesting ish. I think Levine obviously has a ceiling. We've seen Kobe White have a ceiling. They got absolutely blitzed. Didn't have to play a lot of minutes on Sunday. Levine played 26. Kobe White played 25. So they should be fine going into this game. Jalen Green always in tournaments. I thought Ben Matherin was a super sharp play to go back to because he had. People see the same matchup and they're like, "Nah, I don't want to play that." He just sucked against them last time, so why would we play him? Well, for all those that didn't go to Ben Matherin again against Miami, they probably were a little disappointed. If you were playing over on FanDuel, I mean, 44.5 fantasy points, had another double-double. He had one letdown. Obviously, the letdown came on Friday when we were touting him heavily.
Yeah.
But he was in my playbook because FanDuel had the Miami Indiana game 5 p.m. roster lock on their slate. So I think Matherin is a great play at 65, shooting guard, small forward, going to play big minutes. And you got guys on back to backs that one, he's young, so you don't worry about it as much. But two, he gets to the line a lot, so we're not going to be seeing him settle for long jumpers and with tired legs. He's going to constantly be attacking. So Matherin quite a bit. Bridges is fine, especially if someone sits. Really hard to want to roster Grady Dick right now.
Yeah.
But for what it's worth, and you've obviously touted him a lot this year. When people have been out, I mean, it's not like the minutes have gone anywhere. It's not like the shot attempts have gone anywhere. They just haven't gone in as consistently. But every time they have, we've seen 40 plus fantasy points from him. So we know that there's a ceiling. If you want to go there, it's a really good spot. I wouldn't really shy away from it. Not really going to get to Agbaji at 61. Not going to get to Oubre coming off the bench at 6,000 either.
Okay. We're going to way down. Eamon Thompson, $5,400. Another monster performance here on Sunday. I mean, these guys are just fantasy point per minute monsters. And then when they get extended, the ceiling is just ridiculous on them. He played 22 minutes tonight and only needed 16 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists, and a block. Jabari Smith only played 24 minutes. Now, granted, this was a blowout. Şengün, 26, Jalen Green, 23. But we've seen, Thompson playing 25 to 30 minutes pretty consistently lately here. Do you think there's some high ownership going to Thompson here tonight?
I mean, I think that people just realize that he is a fantasy firecracker, right? Him and Tari Eason, you can play both of them. Probably wouldn't play both of them in the starting line in the same lineup unless someone sat. But you can play both of them in separate lineups, and there's 40 fantasy point upside with both. So yeah, I mean, really good position eligibility, really good production off the bench. Really like it for sure.
What other value plays are we looking at shooting guard for you?
I mean, I'm surprised Tim Hardaway didn't play because it looked like he was going to, and then he didn't. But dude, Malik Beasley scored 26 points again. He made a bunch of threes, 6 threes, 26, 3, and an assist and a steal. He's still too cheap for a guy that just keeps scoring the basketball at a really high clip. So if Tim Hardaway is out, going absolutely right back to the well with Malik Beasley makes a lot of sense. Obviously lost out on a bunch of minutes because of the blowout too. So Beasley, you can always play Kispert in a tournament. He always plays a bunch of minutes. I would feel better about Kispert if there's no Malcolm Brogdon, because Brogdon, I mean, right off the bat, 22 minutes is a little scary. You can play KCP. There's a really low floor, but he does play a boatload of minutes in competitive games. Duncan Robinson is playing a lot of minutes. Another guy that is, you know, I would say he's in the rotation, but when Jimmy's back, you're not seeing 31 and 36 minutes out
Right.
of him. So if there's no Jimmy Butler, I'm good with Duncan Robinson. I mean, dude, every time he's been extended, we know he's going to be on the floor and he's
Yeah.
shooting a lot of threes. And we saw it last year with the playmaking where Duncan Robinson was suddenly just like this good passer, and we're like, whoa,
Yeah.
where are all these assists coming from for Duncan Robinson? So
I like
that you
it.
have
Yeah, Grayson as well down here.
Grayson. Yep, exactly where I was going to. He was really good on Sunday as well.
Small forward. Franz Wagner,
Yeah,
$9,100.
he
Going
is
against Phoenix.
he is very good.
He has been very good, right? We're no longer in the territory of where he like is kind of middling. He is taking over the identity of this team. He is balling out. With his production, though, the price continues to rise. He's $9,100 now on this slate. Means we need 45 and change for 5X. Now he's given us 63, 46, and 55 and 3 straight. So he is getting us there. Thoughts here at spinning up, because obviously as you decide on where you put your money on this slate, $9,100 becomes one of your more expensive, if not the most expensive guy in your lineup.
Yeah, I mean it's a tough spot. Phoenix has a lot of wing defenders that they can throw at him. Okogie's playing a bunch of minutes. Ryan Dunn's really good as a rookie defensively, so they have like a lot of options. This is Where is Phoenix? I mean, this is so bad. 23rd in pace for Phoenix. This is actually a pace up game for the Suns.
Yeah.
Orlando's 18th in pace, which is kind of surprising. It's minuscule possessions though. It doesn't make any difference. Yeah, I would play Franz. I mean, everything's just flowing through him. And if you're going to get consistent scoring, I said earlier in the season I was worried about the 3-point shot regressing. It did, but like the volume is outweighing the percentage. If he's going
Yeah.
to take 8 to 11 threes a night, he doesn't need 7 to go in because he's taking so many shots and so many threes and so many free throws, and the peripheral stats are great. So yeah, I have no problem getting to him. Just like I have no problem. Like I think the top 3 names at small forward are all really appealing.
Barrett obviously has a good matchup here against the Pacers. He had cooled for a little bit. We talked about that, and then now coming off of the overtime Boston game, or not overtime Boston game, it looked like it was going to go to OT.
No, it did go OT.
Now it did go to overtime. Okay.
And then Tatum hit the winner where I was sweating out. I wanted the triple double.
Yeah.
Go to double OT, and then he hit the game winner, and then I was like, whatever.
Right. Okay, that's what it was. 25, 15, and 10 though in that overtime game.
27 shots.
27 shots. He was really good against Detroit the night before. 42 fantasy points in a game that they only scored 95. So things starting to turn around for RJ. Then we got Paul George here against Miami. Again, no minutes limit, which is good. 36 minutes for him. Didn't have the greatest performance against Orlando. Not many teams do because, again, slow pace, good defensively. I guess, like, if Butler plays, do you care? I mean, Butler would be probably the defensive matchup for him.
I don't think I'd care.
Okay.
It's him or Haywood Highsmith now that I wonder if Kevin Love's going to start, actually. We'll see.
Sure. Hart had the 28 and 8 on 28 and 8, not 28 and 8. 28-8 for Hart on Sunday. Always liable to go off and have days like that. He had 14, 9, and 9 against Brooklyn the game before. So you can put him in your lineup against Washington if you please. We talked about a lot of these other guys here. They finally got the price up on OG. He was in the 5Ks for a long time. Now he's $6,400. Again, you want to get to the Knicks, you can get to the Knicks. It's a matchup against Washington. I'm not going to sit here and fight you on it. Where do you go next?
You can always play Easton in a tournament.
Sure.
Royce O'Neal has been very pedestrian. I thought the minutes would rise with Durant and with Beal out. They haven't, just kind of have settled in low to mid 20s. So it's not my favorite spot. Jaime Jaquez
got
will
hurt.
miss time. Yeah, so that is also maybe a factor on the Duncan Robinson train that we got to take a look at. Also, like a Haywood Highsmith, he only played 22 minutes in this game, but he's been starting. If you make shots early and there's no Jimmy, like Highsmith could be extended. Jarris Walker is a good fantasy producer, but his minutes have gone from 16, 25, 23, 27, 8. Like it's just
Yeah.
kind of all over the place. And that's the Rick Carlisle experience for us.
Do
Right
we
then and
think
there.
McConnell
Ooh.
minutes
I forgot about the.
left with an oblique strain? Do we think McConnell gets a bump here with this?
That is interesting. Let's see. Let's see if Popcorn Machine has the because Evermore Funds does not. Popcorn Machine is updated with Indiana.
Okay.
So let's see what we got. When did Ben Shepherd? Ben Shepherd left in the third quarter and never returned.
Yeah.
TJ McConnell was the one that checked in and played basically the rest of the game. After the 4:57 mark of the third quarter, he sat for 2 minutes. So he played 16 second half minutes for TJ McConnell. So your answer or your question is pretty resounding. Yes, that would be. But what do you think that they would like if he doesn't play Shepard?
Yeah.
Is it as easy as starting McConnell? You think, or is
I think
it?
from a depth standpoint, it probably makes more sense to play Darius Walker at small forward.
Agreed, because that's where they had him playing in the preseason.
Right, and you play Matherin at the 2.
Yep.
And then you can have McConnell rotate in and Matherin moves up, Walker comes off the floor, or they do something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, they've been playing Quentin Jackson some run, so I assume he would be in the mix. Not that I want to play Quentin Jackson, just saying like that would probably be a guy that would also get a little bit extended. But yeah, you're spot on with your McConnell thoughts there.
Right, like I think and nothing else, there's more minutes for him to play in this game. Like even if he doesn't start, there's probably 25 plus minutes for TJ McConnell here, and we know what TJ McConnell can do when the man is given extra run. So
that's what we need.
It's all we've ever needed since he was in Philadelphia.
Correct.
Just put this man on the floor and just watch magic happen. So, very interesting. We'll see what the ownership comes out to that tomorrow morning. Would not shock me if people are getting to McConnell at a high rate. All right, we were on small forward. Was there anybody else?
Dylan Brooks. Yeah, dude, he's just like, again, it's not like an exciting play, but he is very consistent. Again, on the Sunday slate, 15 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals. Right? I mean, he just plays a bunch of minutes, has largely stayed out of foul trouble. I say largely stayed out of foul trouble.
He's going to defend Dame in this matchup.
He's going to defend Dame. So, like, yeah, I mean, he's going to stay – if he can stay out of foul trouble, he's going to play a boatload of minutes, and I think that's a super appealing thing.
Anybody else?
No.
Okay. Power forward. We have a probable Giannis, but we have a returning Dame. I mean, he's still capable of going for 100 even with Damian Lillard, so I'm not really too concerned there. So if you get to 12K Giannis, that's fine. No, not going to sit here and fight you on it. But then there's nobody new that we talk about until we get to Siakam at 72 against Toronto. You want to talk revenge game in Toronto here? We got a great price point for Siakam.
I don't think, I highly doubt that this is like a thing that Siakam is like circling on his calendar. Like they traded me. Like he was so thankful they traded. I know. I mean, grateful. I know he was in the Eastern Conference Finals, from the worst in the East to the Eastern Conference Finals. But yeah, I mean, it's a great price and it's a great spot. So, besides the fact that he happens to be going to a place that he won a championship and spent a lot of time and made a lot of money, besides all of that, this is a great price and a great matchup. So yeah, I like Siakam quite a bit.
Tobias is always safe, $6,300.
Yep.
Gets a pace out spot against Chicago.
Always safe.
Probably can just pencil him in for 35 fantasy points.
I mean, dude, 30 to 35, the wheelhouse for Toby. If you want to play a cash game and you want some safety, just plug Tobias.
We'll talk about another power forward in this game as well that seemingly is just a lock for 30 plus fantasy points these days as well. On the other side of that matchup there. Let's see. You got Royce O'Neal's 54. And then we have Mr. Pat Williams.
Except on the Sunday slate. But that's like, I mean, they were just, it was just bad.
He didn't have a shot to put up points in that game. So
no.
They as a team lost by 40. So
trying to figure out who the leading fantasy getter was for the Bulls, but it was definitely Josh Giddey.
I mean, he only played 16 minutes without fouls. He just like they're just like everybody's done. Everybody's off the floor. So I won't count that against him. I'll count these games though. 38, 33, 36, and 30 for the last 4 games here for Patrick Williams. What are we? I mean,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
2 against Cleveland, against New York, like top tier talent there.
Yeah, no, it's been impressive. Just like seeing the minutes be that consistent. I noticed this, and I didn't write this in my analysis. I should have. He has a better field goal percentage from 3 than he does on the year. 39% from the field, 42% from 3, which is
he's been very efficient shooting lately.
Yeah,
with low volume guys, is very dangerous.
Well, let me ask you this, right? And I already know the answer because we're going to get to this now. Jonathan Isaac, over his last 2 games, has played 22 and 25 minutes. And the quotes from Jamal Mosley after that Philly game were like 100% about Jonathan Isaac. It was all about Jonathan Isaac, how well he did switching on Embiid, how well he did defending everybody on that team. There is a very good chance, and I need you to knock on wood because I cannot. I need you. I am begging you to. Thank you. There is a very good chance that we are trending towards.
If he plays 30 minutes, he will break.
We are trending. Listen, we are trending towards that direction.
I know. When he played 19 minutes, I shot you a text. I was like, dude,
I know.
Dude, 19, and they played 14 against Charlotte in the blowout. And then 22, I'm like, he's not coming off the floor against Indiana. What's happening? He's closing the game. And then you texted me against the Philly game. You're like, look at Jonathan Isaac's minutes.
He literally said, look at Jonathan Isaac's minutes.
So, I mean, listen, those of you who've followed along with us for a very long time, I mean, we have been in on Jonathan Isaac since like his rookie year out of Florida State. You know, like we're like, this guy is tall. He can shoot. Back then he could shoot. He can shoot a little bit better now. Block shots, get steals. Like he is everything you want in a DFS play. 4,200 against Phoenix. It's a good spot. You just got to trust that this is what they want to start doing with their rotation, right? Because we can't risk another 14 minutes at 4,200.
I'm going to steal the screen for a second. This is the John Isaac. I just got it. This is the minutes. This is the what we do with John Isaac's minutes lately.
Yeah.
Right?
Pretty much.
It's like, no, we can't do it. But 25?
Oh.
All right, I'll stop. I'm sorry. I stole the screen, but like I know you have to do work again. I'm sorry, but that is like my legit feeling on John Isaac because like, dude, all we've ever wanted is this back-to-back games, 20 plus minutes, 25 minutes in a game where he closes again. It's like he's going. I'm telling you, you're gonna message me tomorrow and you'll be like,
John Isaac went for 10x.
No, you're gonna message me and, like the first ownership run is gonna be Jonathan Isaac as well.
Oh, probably. Yeah.
Without a doubt, John Isaac.
Him and like McConnell probably, right? Like
him and McConnell just as 2 value options. Because like when you look at I'm looking at Popcorn Machine right now, dude, he would have gotten There was a minute left in the game when the starters checked out. You would have played 26. We would have got 26 minutes out of John Isaac if he didn't, if he doesn't lose that minute for garbage time. We are trending towards 30 minutes, and the price is not matching the player, period. So I will be heavily invested. I'm telling you right now, I will be heavily invested in John Isaac. That's why I had you knock on wood, just to get rid of the bad juju.
Yeah.
That comes with every time we're heavily invested in Jonathan Isaac and the injuries. But yeah, I'm all in. I'm all in. I'm just telling you right now, man. I'm in.
If Joel Embiid gets ruled out, we have Yabusele.
That is also a very good 24 minutes in a game Embiid played, by the way. So the minutes are just not going anywhere.
Our guy Boucher is playing around 20, being productive, but still would take Isaac over him there.
Yep.
Anything else?
What do you make of Iguodaro playing 27 and 26 minutes in back-to-back days?
I mean, they need bodies, right?
Yeah, just a thought. I mean,
he hasn't been if these are the minutes he is going to get at 3,400, you have to give him a look.
Nurk played 14. They double, and this is probably a Minnesota thing. They started Plumlee and Nurkic today.
Okay.
Brought Okogie off the bench, brought O'Neal off the bench.
Okogie got hurt too, right, in that game? Or no, that was Okoro?
No, Okoro definitely got hurt.
Okay, it was Okoro. They have the same name. I couldn't remember the notification there.
Yeah, very, very same name, almost the same amount of letters.
Spelled very similarly.
Yep. One's named Josh, one isn't,
Sure.
But I mean, if they were to go double big, he played 26 minutes off the bench. That's all I'm saying. Just throwing it out there.
Sure. No, I'm not going to sit here and argue with you. That works for me. 26 and 27 back to back. I bet there's probably going to be some people running to that back to back as well. Center. Yeah, Giannis, obviously. You have Joel Embiid, played 33 minutes, so we're basically back. It is Bam Adebayo. We know how good a defensive player he is, but 10K JoJo playing 30 minutes is too cheap.
Yes.
Just too cheap. He's a 12K center. Last year he was. He was really good in the first half.
I know, we were getting the messages. He's back.
He
was very good. He was very good.
10 free throws again, so he's still good at getting to the line.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not against it. I think per dollar,
this man should be 10K.
Yeah, per dollar, I think Towns, Bam, and Şengün are all better plays.
Sure.
Until we get
70.
Until Embiid just looks healthy, right? He just doesn't. He's still 33 minutes is great. He just hasn't. He's still not moving well. He's not making shots, and I know all that's going to correct itself over
time.
There
will be a day. Yeah, there will be a day.
There will be many,
but
there will be many days.
This is not an accurate representation of the player that Joel Embiid is at the moment. Right. But again, Towns should be probably 10K as well. Not even counting what he did today. You obviously see what he's been doing. And then today, against Brooklyn, he had 26, 15, and 6. So again, dominating performances for Towns at 9K. You mentioned Şengün. Şengün went off in limited playing time today because they were blowing them out by 40. But as you mentioned, he triple-doubled 20, 11, 11 in 26 minutes for Alperen Şengün. And as you see, it's back-to-back triple-doubles for this guy. So elite at 81 because, again, not priced correctly. I think Vucevic's in a great spot. Jakob Poeltl, we joke.
Jakob Jokic.
Jakob Jokic. On the Friday underdog slate, I had Jokic in my lineup. Then he got ruled out, and they late swapped me and Jakob Poeltl. I was like, man. And then, in the first quarter, he had 8, 5, and 6. I was like, never mind. I got Jakob Jokic here on my team. So we're
literally probably the best. That was literally the best pivot possible, right?
I would have to assume of the guys that weren't drafted that were pivotable. He went for 61, and then he followed it up in the overtime game against Boston. Going for 35 and 12.
35 actual against the Boston Celtics. Jakob Poeltl.
Do we have Jakob Poeltl on our underdog? I know I do on a few. I mean, I've bragged about our underdog team a few times, but I forget which centers we've drafted because our team is so good. Let's see. Our centers on this team.
Zubats? Do we have Zubats on that team?
We have Poeltl.
Poeltl?
Yep. Miles Turner, Jakob Poeltl, and Agankwo are our 3 centers.
Not a bad trio.
Not a bad trio. Not when Jakob Jokic is on your floor, on your team there.
Dude, but like if you remember, Sands, Scotty Barnes, and Quickly, he was doing a lot of this. Not like this last 2 days were a little bit. He had 48 against Denver. He had 49 against the Lakers. He had 48 against Charlotte.
Games. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So he was doing it. I mean, 7,700, in theory, you're like, it's Jakob Poeltl. I can't justify it. Yes, you can.
You need 38. It's basically been it's an average around his average for the year. So,
but again,
certainly doable.
Yeah, it is for sure. Personally, I lean Şengün, like in that range. Like I still lean Şengün, but it's hard not to like Poeltl.
Agreed. And yeah, Vuka's averaging 42 fantasy points on the season, so like
he's been
also capable of popping off against Detroit there.
Agreed.
During 61. I mean, Drummond would probably get the start for no Embiid, but he actually has been kind of bad-ish. So like,
yes. Well, he also, I mean, and I don't know if this was a Isaac thing, and they were like not going to keep Drummond on the floor with Isaac playing center, but Drummond's not going to be able to match Bam. Bam's too athletic for him. That's going to be another Yabusele game, right?
Yabo game. Yep, I agree. What's our Wendell Carter status? Doubtful. Okay.
Doubtful?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's great for the Jonathan Isaac. Or us Jonathan Isaac stands out.
I was going to say, I wonder what happens when Wendell Carter actually gets back on the floor. Goga probably starts there, plays his usual minutes, but obviously Isaac is cutting into that a little bit. We talk about Plumlee starting double big. Got Yabusele down here. Mo Wagner. It's been a guy that just comes off the bench and scores points. $4,500. Where are we? Anybody else for you value wise?
Nah, I don't think so.
I agree.
I don't see anything down here.
Where are we starting our lineups here? I guess McConnell, right? We're pretty much
Isaac McConnell. Do you want to start?
We're going McConnell here. McConnell point guard only kind of sucks, but that's okay. Isaac power forward. Center. We liked Şengün here against Milwaukee, right? Or do you want to go Poeltl versus
or Towns?
Towns, yeah, Towns versus Washington. That's a good call. 9K. 6,500 a play here. Shooting guard.
Mathern.
Okay.
Or McCain. I know you're.
Yeah. Would you do Amen here? 54. Or are you too concerned about like the minutes volatility?
No, I mean, dude, you said it. In 22 minutes, he nuked.
Yeah.
So the minutes are like less important for him if he's just going to nuke slates left and right.
I wonder what Matherin's usage is with McConnell on the floor.
It's a good shout. Well, let's get this up here.
See if he's impacted at all.
Add more funds. Is it working for you? Because it's been a little.
Yeah, I got it up.
Okay.
Let's see. Players off. What do I want on here? I want players on. I want McConnell.
Yeah.
Let's see. Matherin 22% usage rate. McConnell has a 25% usage rate.
Sheesh. Do they play a lot together? What's the minute sample?
103 minutes for Matherin on the floor. Of 187 minutes for McConnell, obviously playing this year, 103 of them with Matherin. To Siakam, 18% usage rate with TJ McConnell on the floor.
I mean, he is a super ball dominant, like obviously, like just super ball dominant player, TJ McConnell.
Yeah, he is the leading usage player with when he's on the floor. So
Hilarious.
kind of interesting there.
That is fun. That's funny. That's funny.
Kind of interesting. And I was going to take Nembhard off the floor, but there's only been 5 minutes where McConnell and Nembhard have played together. So it's not even an impact on that one there. Biggest minutes played with McConnell this year is Mathurin, Siakam, and Toppin. Well, all over 100 minutes on the floor. And I said there's only 3 players with over 20% usage rate. Turner, Mathurin, both at 22%, and then McConnell himself's at 25%.
Yikes, no Halliburton.
Mathurin is 1.16 fantasy points per minute, which is
very good. Yeah, he's
McConnell's 1.04 for the year on the floor. So, but nobody else over 1 fantasy point per minute. So McConnell just gets on the floor and just takes over everything, I guess. So,
Yep.
Does that make you less likely to pay Ben Mathurin then, or do you?
Because the fantasy production was still
1.16,
almost 1.2. If you get 1.2 fantasy points per minute at 35 minutes, plus who knows what the minute ceiling is if Ben Shepherd actually misses, that's a high ceiling.
Okay. Do we have any other guards we wanted here? We mentioned McCann. Do we just like that 58 under trim, or was there? I mean, there was Beasley 51 against Chicago.
I would say the Beasley stuff is probably the THJ.
Hey, we can plug Cade. He's only 93. We still have 58 to play.
Yeah, let's play Cade. Let's play Cade. That's a good one.
And then we have a forward here. We can go Pat Will at 48 for some value if you wanted to. There's obviously Eason, O'Neal.
You know who I didn't mention? I didn't mention Nikola Jovic. If Jimmy's out, Jovic has been great, by the way. $3,700. I could see him being another guy that people get to.
There's Grayson Allen is the one we wanted to hear. Right?
Yeah, Grayson. Yeah.
Ooh, guard only. You small forward? You are. Okay, good. I thought like 2 slates ago, Allen was both.
I think you are correct. I'm fairly certain you're correct.
And we got $7,700 util, which could be Pirtle. Could double it up. Could play Hart.
I mean, dude, the Jakob Pirtle thing, I don't think people play. We could play. I don't think people get there.
You got a low roster Jakob Pirtle here.
And hope it's Jakob Jokic.
Hope it's Jakob Jokic. So McConnell, Allen, Thompson, Isaac, Towns, Cunningham, Mathurin, and Pirtle. Example lineup for this slate again. Grande is going to be on your playbook for Monday. We'll be live again at 5 p.m. Eastern time to break it all down again for you with the latest news and lineup notes and updates for everybody here. But not going to lie to you, there's a good chance this is the lineup I play. I really like what we just put together here. So hopefully the news breaks our way. It is the NBA. There's most certainly going to be a random name that pops up as out, with the number of teams that are on back-to-backs on the slate as well. It's more than likely we'll get a midday questionable that will flip the slate on its head. But for now, everybody, this is what we like. This is what we're doing, and we'll talk to you at 5.